The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
I'm very pleased indeed to welcome Emilia Quinn to Alpha Sessions today, and we're going to have a little chat and hear some music. How are you today, Emilia?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Nice to see you. Um, let's start off by just sort of getting a bit of background. Um, how did it all start for you in music? Where does it go back to? Does it go back to an early age or
It does
something?
a very, very long time ago. I started playing piano when I was 6 years old. I'm now 23, so
Right.
you can do the math there. I won't, I'm very bad at it. Um, I just kind of found that I took to it quite well and I enjoyed it. Um, so my parents have always been really, really supportive and I'm very, very lucky to have that. And they sort of encouraged the piano lessons. They got me more lessons and eventually it led on to guitar lessons. And then I think I went to bass and then I went to cello and I did some vocals as well. So I've done a few bits and pieces. Music has always sort of been the thing that is the most prominent in my life. When you're growing up, you try different things. I think when I was like 13, I wanted to be a marine biologist. But music is always something I've come back to. So that's kind of what I stuck with now. And here I am being a country music singer in the UK.
Mm. And I think did you have you had some spells in some bands as well?
I have. So there's a poster behind me, actually. That's my first band. We were in a magazine, which was very cool at the time. Um, and we were sort of a bit sort of punk rocky, bit of sort of emo-y kind of stuff. That was my emo phase. And then I did a load of solo stuff for a while. And then when I was at uni, I formed a blues rock band. Did that for a couple of years. And then I kind of wanted to go in a different direction. So I broke off solo again and found my feet in sort of roots country and Americana music.
Mm. So but you still sort of you still retain that sort of bluesy rocky uh,
Yeah.
element to it, don't you?
Yeah, it's a genre that speaks to me because, blues obviously is very rooted in a very rich cultural background, and country music comes from that, rock music comes from that, Americana comes from that, and it's all about the storytelling, and those genres are very much about the lyrics and about the message in the song, and that's kind of what does it for me for music. That's what makes me tick, and that's how I write, so it kind of works out.
Yeah, roots music sort of covers quite a broad spectrum,
It
doesn't it?
does. That's why
You
we
know?
go with that term, because
Yeah,
it's too
yeah.
many different things sort of
Well,
all in one.
yeah, and but I find that really good because it I say you say to people I like country music and they think Dolly Parton,
Yeah.
Garth Brooks.
They assume they know. They assume they know what it's all about. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh my gosh, no, it is just so much bigger than that. Like obviously those are amazing, amazing artists. But there's so much more to it. I think I strongly believe that there is a country song for everyone.
mm, yeah, because I mean, and from that, you can go to pure blues, you can go to pure rock, and I go both those ways as
Yeah,
well.
me too.
And that my taste go, and I have a real problem. I do a country music show on the hospital radio station,
Yeah.
and a colleague was forever sticking his head round the door and going, "That's not country music."
But what is? What is country music? Like, I'd love for someone to define that black and white because it's just not. I think three chords and the truth. It tells a story, then it's a country song.
Yeah. You released an album last year, an EP,
Yeah.
Firecracker,
Yeah,
which got the UK Country Music Association an award, didn't you, for that EP?
I did. It was the UK CMSAs,
Yeah,
and yeah, they awarded me EP of the year, which is still very mind blowing. It's still very fresh.
yeah. And I mean, how long had you been recording up to that date? I know it wasn't your first recording, but
No, it was my second EP. So I'd kind of my debuted into the UK country scene the year before in 2019 with Wrote Off, and then I went on to do there was a little single in between called Mistakes, and then Firecracker was the next thing to come out. So it's pretty quick, which is, I think that's why I'm so like stunned. Because it's gone fast, but it's not been that long. But I'm very, very chuffed.
I mean, it's not quite instant success, but it's not far off it, is it? I mean,
I know.
it's a good
I'm
story.
very
Yeah.
honoured.
Absolutely. And so what are your, I mean, we've talked about the roots thing and that encompasses a lot. So what are or were your musical interests, growing up? What sort of, what molded the person that we're talking to now musically?
Gosh, everything. I went through all sorts of phases growing up, as you do. You try out different kinds of music, and I think the majority of what I've stuck with was kind of that rockier, edgy music. But my parents listened to obviously Queen and Meatloaf, stuff like that. So I grew up with things like that. I grew up with French music, which probably was a little bit more like Americana. People like Francis Gabriel and Jean-Jacques Goldman, who writes for just everybody, and like his writing is insane. He wrote for like Celine Dion and stuff like that. So proper up there songwriting, which is probably where I've gone like, yeah, that's for me. And then I really went into rock music, and I think I kind of found people like Blackstone Cherry, and that's where I realized you can be sort of this rootsy country kind of vibe with rock as well, and still be quite hard hitting and gritty. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm not overly a girly girl. I'm wearing pink today. This is
Yes,
rare.
I'm very honoured.
But yeah, I'm not quite a girly girl. I'm not really soft spoken either. I haven't got a very soft or high pitched voice. Never have. So it kind of suited me quite well. I was like, oh, there is a place for me in this world after all.
Well, yes, I mean, there's a hint there on your Facebook page. Is it Emilia's Bitches? You have,
Twins bitches. Yeah, they're my fan club. They named themselves. I take no credit for that.
you're not stuck in one mode.
Yeah.
You
I move around too much. I can't sit still. I'm swaying like this. I can't sit still. So, and that's certainly not something I can do in my music. And just I like being able to experiment with different things and try out different genres and see what works, see what doesn't. It's fun.
Let's go back to your award-winning EP, Firecracker. And I mean that one did really well for you, didn't it? I mean, it really did take off. I think it got up to number 3 in the iTunes country
Yeah,
chart.
it was the first time I chatted, so that was a bit of fun.
And from what I can understand, it's brought you fans sort of outside the UK, and I guess particularly in the US, which
Yeah.
must be rewarding
Massively.
for someone in the UK.
Hugely. It's like a sort of stamp of approval, isn't it? Because, country music is huge in the US, and to sort of have those US fans saying, oh, this is really great. I'm like, whoa, okay, I feel a little bit better. I feel less of an imposter now. But I think a lot of that as well is down to being in lockdown and having to do live streams rather than real gigs. And if I didn't have these live streams, I probably wouldn't have made those connections.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of bittersweet. But I am really grateful to have been able to connect with those people and share my music with them.
Tell me something about Outlaw off the Firecracker album.
So Outlaw, I didn't realize this at the time of writing it, but it's the second song that I'd written called Outlaw. So I think, and the first one I didn't like at all. So I think the idea must have just been bubbling somewhere in my subconscious, and I came out with it again. But it's the most popular song on the EP for sure, and it actually features a big gang chorus at the end of lots of different people in the country music scene. and it was an absolute pleasure to be able to feature them on this record because, you know, they're my friends, they're my peers. So if you want to check that out, make sure you stream or buy the EP. It's available on CDs as well.
Top shelf, $60 shot of Follow whiskey. I ain't looking to mess around, I wanna dive in deep. So why don't you take a sip? You think you can handle me? Outlaw, outlaw, take it by the hand. Show me who's the baddest bitch in the land. Outlaw, outlaw, show me what you got. I'll show me you found your love. I'm a hot man, riding son of a gun. Head on heels, I'm a real deal. And if you want my heart, I want you love. I want you love. Hey, I like to live my life with my heart on my sleeve. But don't think I won't bite back if you try to cross me. I ain't looking to be saved, I can stand on my own 2 feet. I just want a kindred soul can understand me. Yeah. Outlaw, outlaw, take my hand. Show me who's the baddest bitch in the land. Outlaw, outlaw, show me what you got. I'll show me you found me love. I'm a hot fire, the hottest son of a gun. Down, head on heels, I'm a real deal. And if you want my heart, I want you love. I want you love. Hey. Outlaw, outlaw, take me by the hand. Show me who's the baddest bitch in the land. Outlaw, outlaw, take me by the hand. Show me who's the baddest bitch in the land. Outlaw, outlaw, take me by the hand. Show me who's the baddest bitch in the land. I'm a hot fire, the hottest son of a gun. Head on heels, I'm a real deal. And if you want my heart, I want you love. I want you love. I want you love. I want you love.
The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
What about your songwriting then? When did that start?
So that started when I was 11, and the experience was really strange because it wasn't that I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to songwrite, I'm going to be a songwriter, I'm going to try this out, with sit down and try and write a song. It just kind of happened, and I remember it being like this kind of sort of rush and be like, oh my god, like I've got this idea, I need to write it down, I need to, you know, put it on paper and record it into my phone and stuff, and that's kind of just where it started, and it just carried on from there. It's like someone opened a door and just went, oh, there you go, now you've got, you know, this another thread of creativity. And it was a country song as well, just happens.
So you it sounds like you find it a fairly easy process to go through.
Yeah, when I just write and I've just got an idea and I'm just rolling with it, that's when it's the easiest. When I'm sitting down and trying to write something or doing rewrites, I absolutely hate rewriting songs. Like going through an edit and be like, what could I say here to make it better? And I'm like, oh, I hate doing it so much. So that's kind of the difficult part. I can't force a song. I always hate the song if I try and force it, and they never sees the light of day. So most of the songs that I've written are sort of those ones that kind of happen from somewhere in here.
So do you do much co-writing?
I do. That's been a really recent experience as well. I only started it about a year ago, and I've not done loads because it's been a little bit tricky. But that's kind of put me in an environment where you do have to sit down and start writing, and some of them have just, I've not come out with things that I like, and I'm kind of like, oh, it's really sticking, and you just kind of end up in a rut. But some of them, having someone there to sort of bounce the ideas off of and have some input as well, and like if I got it to a line and I'm like, I don't know what to say next, and then they might have the key to that and unlock something else, and I'm like, oh god, yeah, that works, and then the idea flows on again. It's actually a really enjoyable experience.
So would you say you prefer doing it with people, other people, or
I don't
it
know.
just depends on the...
That's a really good question.
I mean, I always think there's two ways that can go. You're with someone and you're thinking, no, or as you just said, they fire you and you think, oh yeah, that's opened a door.
Yeah, I think it's a mix, because I think you really, obviously it's something that you schedule in, and you're not always in the mood to co-write at that time. You don't always sort of sit down and go, oh yeah, I'm right, okay, I'm gonna write, and I'm really in the mood for it. Some days it's just like, oh god, I've got nothing, my brain's fried, like, and I think those days are sort of, you're like, oh god, I don't like this. But the sessions that I've had where we've really fired off on the ideas and come out with something really great, they're so enjoyable. So I think it does depend, but I do really like writing by myself as well, because I can just roll with it, and I don't have the nerves of being like, this idea might be really crap and I don't want to share it.
You've been working on a project, haven't you? Which is going to be sort of the culmination of which is going to be released on the 8th of March.
Yeah.
And I've just got some notes here. I mean, please go back and tell us more about the project. But on the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day,
It is.
you're releasing a single called Girl Talk. You're also releasing a video.
Yeah.
And on the same day, voting begins on the Girl Talk Awards.
Yeah.
And I know that originally you planned to just put this together with a few of your friends, a bit like you said,
Yeah.
with Outlaw, but it didn't quite work out like that, did it? It seemed...
Not quite, no.
Did it get out of hand, or is it a controlled?
I think it kind of snowballed a little bit for a while. So basically, for a bit of context, the song, I kind of sort of, I had a conversation with a friend, and we were talking about experiences that we've had in and out of the industry as women. And I said, I'm going to write a song called Girl Talk, and I'm going to release it on International Women's Day, and I'm going to donate the proceeds to charity, because that's something I'm very passionate about. Helping young women in music is something I'm extremely passionate about, because I am and was a woman in music. And when I was coming up, there wasn't as much support as there is now, but there still could be a lot more. And then I thought, oh, it'll be fun, to have a sort of little group together, maybe 3 or 4 of us, sort of coming off of the Outlaw chorus. It was a little bit inspired by that, and be like, oh yeah, we'll have a group and do some gang choruses and stuff. Yeah, that grew. So I just kept adding people, because I kept thinking, oh, this person's really great and this person's really cool. And then I'd meet people on live streams and be like, oh my God, you're so great, you should be on the track. And it's just full of really inspiring and empowering women now. And it totaled to about 23, because I had to put a deadline for the production on it. It probably would have grown more if I didn't.
I've seen a list of some of the people on it. I don't know whether it's the definitive list, but it certainly reads like a who's who of certainly UK country music.
Yeah. It definitely features a lot of us in the UK country scene.
All your peers and friends, which makes the point that I'm constantly saying, is that the UK country music scene in this country, that's a double, isn't it? But anyway, you know what I mean, is a really tight group.
It is.
Everyone supports everyone else,
Definitely.
don't they?
And it's different to other genres as well that I've seen as well. There's a lot less bitchiness, there's a lot less sort of competition. I mean, obviously there is a bit of competition, it happens, it's the music industry. But it's not as nasty as other genres have been. Like the sort of full-on rock genre can be a bit wild.
You're donating the proceeds of this single to Girls Rock London.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's right. So they're a charity who basically help and empower young women, transgender and non-binary people to get into the music industry and provide them courses and support and advice when they're trying to break through, because it is a tricky one to navigate. I mean, a lot of industries are male dominated, and the music industry is very much one of those. And these sort of minorities, which unfortunately we are, we can struggle. And women a lot of the time, and I found it personally as well, have to work twice as hard to be recognized on the same level as their male counterparts, and that's just not fair, because it's not done on merit. It is simply because you're a girl in a room full of blokes.
Yeah, I can understand that entirely. It's funny, isn't it? Because until I got involved with these sort of interviews, I mean, I've always thought, oh, there's lots of girls around, And in fact, if I look through my record collection, I've got more female artists than I have men. Just I just like girls singing, But and I thought I could never quite understand this. Well, there isn't enough representation, but of course you're not necessarily talking about up front. It's the recording industry,
Yeah.
the music industry, the record label.
On a whole, like, it is very much male dominated. There was a study done by Annenberg, and they found that 2% of women in the music industry across all genres were women, and that's just 2%. That's tiny. And it's those sort of disproportions, and just the way women are treated as well, because there is a difference. I mean, I've got a few stories, but the song features a few sort of real life occurrences from myself, from my friends, and as much as it's kind of jokey and it's a bit of fun, there is that serious message behind it, and those stories come from somewhere. If these things didn't happen and this imbalance didn't exist, I wouldn't have a song to write about it.
So you are definitely making a serious point, and you want people to listen to it as well.
I want to have a conversation. I don't want to go out and scream in people's faces that men are bad and everyone should support women, because that's one, no one gets anywhere by shouting at each other. And two, I don't think men are bad. I don't think that it should be totally 50-50 all the time. But I do think that it should just be done on merit and skill and talent. Gender should never come into it.
Well, yeah, you've certainly loaded it that way on this single, because the other thing I forgot to mention was it's an all-girl band as well, isn't it?
It is. we found the female drummer, we found female bassist, female guitarist. It was great. And they all kill it.
Okay, well, that's all happening on March the 8th.
Yeah.
You're going to be busy, aren't you, on March the 8th?
I'll bet.
with all these other things going on, and I'm right in saying the video is released on the same day.
Yeah, so the video will be premiering at 6 p.m. GMT on YouTube, right. And I'll be there in the comments. So if you want to come have a chat with me,
yeah, absolutely, yeah. And does it feature some of these other artists that are they in the video as well?
It features some of the artists, and it also features other people, including some drag queens and a drag king, which you don't see very often, and just empowering women that are in various industries.
So I think what makes a girl is pedicures and manicures, a head full of curls. Is it cups of coffee and long conversations about the guys or girls have been dating? That's when we get down to the gritty. Ah, you didn't know? What a pity. Come on. Heard how you said you went to her DMs. Convenient you didn't mention your girlfriend. Heard those G's that you pick with a guitar who tried his luck. And the stranger at the store couldn't wait anymore. Just tell me how pretty my dress would be on his bedroom floor. Girl talk, it's like a grapevine and Chinese whispers. And I've heard all about how you treat her. You messed up again, 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 again. Girl talk, take a deep dive into your psyche. While you're acting all high and mighty, we've gone and cracked the code. Girl talk, that's how we know. Girl talk, it's like a grapevine and Chinese whispers. And I've heard all about how you treat her. You messed up again, 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 again. Girl talk, take a deep dive into your psyche. While you're acting all high and mighty, we've gone and cracked the code. Girl talk, that's how we know. That's how we know.
The Alpha Sessions with Ron Laver.
You couldn't have had all those people in the studio with you or in your wherever.
Don't tell
you
anyone.
were.
No, I'm kidding. We didn't.
So is it? I mean, was that hard to coordinate? I mean, presumably you've got audio and video from lots of different sources, and
Yeah.
pulling that together must have been quite a feat.
It was definitely interesting. But everyone did really, really well. So everything was recorded remotely and basically sent in to me, and then I do the edits and then sent it off to the producer. So there was definitely sort of varying things, like the timing was probably one of the biggest challenges, because obviously I sent a scratch track out and had my guide vocals on it, and it's difficult. I've featured on a track like that as well. The I Won't Forget to Miss You Christmas song.
Yes, you were
that went out.
on that Christmas single, weren't
Yeah.
you?
And so I know firsthand that it is quite tricky to record that way. But everyone did really, really well, including the producer. You had to line everything up. But it was great, and it's actually turned out absolutely incredible. Like, I don't think you'd be able to tell it was all done remotely on various devices. Not everybody has a recording studio in the house. And everyone just came through massively. And then the video was done over Zoom. So basically we'd have a call, I'd turn my camera off so you can't see me, and they'd just do their thing and perform on Zoom, which was very weird, but a lot of fun.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah, it sounds like the whole thing's been hard work, but a lot of fun for you.
Massively rewarding. Massively. Yeah. It's not a natural environment either for like us musicians. We're used to being in studios and going in and having the whole setup and not having to do it all ourselves as well. Like I'm lucky because I did a production degree. I know how to record, I know how to do all that stuff. And I've spent a lot of time recording myself, so I don't mind doing it. But that's not the same for everybody, and a huge amount of respect to everyone, because they did it. They came through.
And when you're playing live together, you can feed off the other people.
Yeah, you get the energy and you get the vibes. Like when it's just you send someone, you're like, here you go, this is the track, and I'm like, okay, I'll sing over it and then send it back. It's a very clunky process.
So, as I was saying earlier, March the 8th is going to be a big day for you. So once you've had a couple of days to recover from that, what's the next big project?
Asking, I was like, is this not enough? No, there are things in the pipeline. There are things that I'm working on gradually, but I'm going to be taking a little bit of time off to recover, because I'm surprised I still have hair left. I'm actually like wearing a bandana to cover up a bald patch. No, yeah, I'm going to take a little break, and then I might tell everyone what's next.
you've got something in mind then. You have got a plan in your head,
Might do.
but I'm not going to get it out of you, am I? Okay.
I kept
So
this a secret for 6 months, so I can keep
yeah,
secrets.
okay. Well, I'll certainly be interested to see what that produces in maybe another 6 months or so. Although having said that, I think you got the idea about doing this girl talk last year's International Women's Day.
It was just after, yeah. So
Yeah. So
it
it's
will
been a
have been
year in the
nearly a year.
making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's a long old process. I think I don't know what people think because I've been in this for that long. I don't know what normal people think like. um but it is recording and creating music and putting music out is a very long process. Like a single does generally take about a year for me anyways. If not longer, because and I mean this one is massive as well. But it does take that amount of planning. I did in December, I released a double single, so an A and B side, and I did that in the space of 4 weeks. That was just insane, and I won't be doing it again. But it was a lot of fun to challenge myself to do, and a lot of fun to bring everyone on the journey as well. I did vlogs the whole way through, so if you go to my YouTube channel you can sort of see the whole process, but that is a very, very condensed process. And those were just acoustic tracks as well. They weren't even sort of full band or anything like that.
So, I mean, we're in lockdown. It's got a little way to go yet, at best. Um, I mean, in all honesty, you seem to be keeping your feet on the ground and not going too mad. I know it's a bit, it's
Really?
it's hard for all of us.
Have you been paying attention? No, I like to keep myself busy, and I am fortunate to have the facilities to record at home and do these kind of projects. And they are a little bit mad. They're a little bit insane, but they've kept me connected with a lot of people, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
That's great. I don't think that's insane at all. You know, I just think that's a really good use of your time and you know, for your own sort of state of mind. You're not sitting
Absolutely.
around going, "Woe is me," you know. Oh, I hate this, you know, which I expect you do at times, because we all do.
Occasionally it's the sort of, I miss being on stage. I miss my band.
Well, I mean, that's it, isn't it? So, have you got anything penciled in for the future?
I'm fingers crossed. I've got a couple of festivals in sort of autumn times. I've got one in September and one booked for October. Hopefully they'll go ahead. It'll be really nice to go out and play. And the October one is actually with the band as well. So my backing band, they'll be coming out with me, which will be a lot of fun. We've only done one show together so far. And I've had them for about a year, probably over a year now, I think.
Do you think they're still there?
Yeah, they do. I check in on them, making sure they come back.
When lockdown first started, you were at the start of a tour, weren't you, with
We were
Emma Moore?
so close.
Did
Yeah.
you not get to play any gigs?
No, well, I'm not for the tour, no. I managed to play a few gigs at the very beginning of the year. But as far as the tour went, it was supposed to go ahead in April. And obviously we went into lockdown in March, and we tried to rebook it for summertime, but we don't think that's going to be happening now. And we don't want to risk anybody's health. We don't want to bring people into a space together if there is risk there. One of my, two of my band members have got babies now. One of them needs to be really careful. And I just don't want to put people at risk. It's not worth it. We can wait a little bit longer for that. Personally, I think that. And I'd rather nobody got ill or worse just to go to a gig. We've got live streams, we can stay connected, and we can it's worth waiting until it's definitely safe to go out.
Okay. Do you think that's something you might pick up on at some time in the
Yeah,
future.
we will
The two
still
of
be
you.
doing it when it's absolutely safe to do so. We will definitely still go out and tour. We really, really were looking forward to it. So we will get there. We might add a couple dates as well to make the most of it.
I was going to ask you, how much of the UK will you be taking in on that tour?
A lot of it. I think we went down, the furthest we were planning to go down is London, and then we were going up to Scotland and pretty much everything in between as well.
Where are you? You're up
I'm near
north?
Leeds.
Oh, right,
So
okay.
we're both sort of north-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we were going to go Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow, and we were going to do Blackpool as well, Leeds, London. So at some point we'll do that, and if we want to hit anywhere else, and anyone wants us to play where they are, let us know.
Okay, I'll be in there. Just before we go then, can you tell us something about Nothing to Lose?
Yeah.
Which was also on your Firecracker album.
It was. So Nothing to Lose is kind of the more different one on the EP. It stands out a little bit more, just in my eyes anyways, but that's probably because I play it on a different guitar to the other three. It's got that kind of, that's where my sort of bluesiness comes through a bit more. And the actual meaning of the song is sort of based on having a very negative body image and struggling with that. I think a lot of people do that, and I do think that lockdown's probably made it a lot worse as well. And it's sort of just about dealing with those feelings, and sharing the negative feelings that go along with it, because not everything is great all the time, and talking about things, including negative feelings, takes the power away from them a little bit and kind of makes it easier. Like, a problem shared is a problem halved. So I'm all about sort of opening up and sharing those problems, and trying to help other people feel less alone in those feelings, because if they're talked about, they're not in the shadows anymore.
Do you I mean, do you get, I don't put this really without sounding
Do I have bad body image? Yeah.
that's sounding a bit weird, mine. But I mean, I find it really difficult to understand that, girls like you that have a bad body image of themselves.
I don't think anybody sees themselves as other people do. And I think it's very easy to focus on your flaws. And, there's mental health issues play into it a lot of the time as well. I'm a creative. I don't have the best mental health ever. And it is one of those things where you don't see yourself through everybody else's eyes, and other people might see, oh, you're really pretty, and this kind of stuff. But I'm seeing the flaws. I'm saying, oh yeah, but my eyebrows grow really quick, and I've got spots, and there's this, and I don't like this about myself. But it's really important to remind yourself that if your body works and you've got all your limbs, and I mean, even if you don't, your body works, I mean, you're all right. You're alive. Your body's functioning the way it should. You're very, very lucky.
And that's a good message, I think, that people, it's a good message to give people who've got poor body images of themselves.
It's tough. It is really, really tough. I know firsthand. But aesthetics are not worth everything, and that doesn't define you. And chances are no one else is going to notice the flaws that you're noticing as well.
That's right. And of course, the beauty, if you like, comes from within as well, isn't it? I mean, it's very true.
It does.
No, I think that's a good message, Emilia. Well, look, thank you so much for joining us. I really enjoyed the chat, and I do hope that March the 8th goes well for you. And
I'm very excited.
well, I'm getting quite excited now as well. I can't wait to see the video. So that's going to be interesting. Well, good luck with everything in the future, and maybe in 6 months, a year's time, you'll come back and talk to us about
I'm sure.
your next project. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Oh Lord, please help. I've been running, trying to be someone else. with me. I'll be gone and all I leave is a memory. 'Cause I've got nothing to lose and letting it hate.